Kid found him.
Was there anyone else in the house when you arrived?
Good setup is one of the most important things in a film. Something in the Way scene from The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, is a masterful showing of setup. When I say setup, I don't just mean exposition, although this scene does have some very effective comic book style exposition. I'm talking about setting up the characters and themes for those big payoff moments later in the movie. The scene establishes nearly every major character flaw that Batman has to deal with later in the film and displays a deep understanding of the character through camera angles, diegetic sound, symbolism, and character design. We begin on the crime scene of the freshly murdered mayor. Gordon tells Batman that,
Yeah. Kid found him.
Batman takes a long look at the kid and the song begins. This kid serves multiple purposes in this scene. First off, it is very subtle exposition. The murder of the Waynes is never shown on screen in this movie. This moment confirms for the audience that Bruce has in fact gone through the same thing that this boy is going through, and his parents are dead. But this boy actually plays a much more important role for the movie as a whole. And no, he's not just a future Robin like the internet is so determined to think. It's symbolism, not sequel teasing. So yeah, he's a symbol. He is Bruce. He is the mission. Batman's entire goal is to make sure no one ever has to experience his pain again. That's why the camera angle on Batman is not your typical low-angle hero shot, because he and the kid are the same. Batman looks at this kid and sees himself. He sees his failure. In a way, this is the purest form of Bruce Wayne we have ever seen. On the inside, he is just a scared boy who has lost everything, and that is exactly what we are staring at. His guilt, his sense of responsibility for the death of his parents only grows. He's feeling his parents' death all over again. This is a surprisingly vulnerable moment to see from Batman. He's frozen. Gordon has to snap him out of his trance. Robert Pattinson's performance is all about the eyes. You can see so much suppressed emotion in just a glance. So what do we see him do next after this moment of emotional vulnerability? He covers up his eyes, the windows into his soul.
I wish I could say I'm making a difference, but I don't know.
His interior monologue is more like someone complaining about their job than an expression of deeply personal failure, but we know that's what's lying just below the surface. He talks about how it isn't working, his mission, his experiment is failing, crime is up, he isn't having an effect. He doesn't know why, but something is wrong, something is in the way.
Maybe it's beyond saving.
The camera angles during this ride range from mounted close-ups with heavy focus on Bruce to large-scale shots of the beautifully crafted Gotham City. Both of these types of shots generate a sense of perspective. The close-ups establish that we are in Bruce's mind. This movie's from his point of view, but his mind is always on the city, so that's what we're seeing. Bruce descends into his cave, which in this iteration is placed directly in the heart of Gotham. Typically, the Batcave is on the outskirts of the city, but this isn't your typical Batman. He is obsessed, he is addicted, therefore his home base is directly in the middle of it all. He never has to leave. Batman is his life, he has nothing else. Look at this guy, does he look healthy? That's the point of all this. He is so laser focused on his mission, he has become emotionally closed off and unstable. He is a drug addict, and his drug is vengeance. He doesn't even take off the makeup on his eyes. He hangs on to this part of his mask for as long as possible in fear that someone, maybe Alfred, might be able to see how deeply affected he is by this case. We also see that this entire monologue has been actually just Bruce writing things down in his journal, which is a nice reference to the comics, specifically Year One, which this is based heavily off of, in which his handwriting is very similar to what we see on screen. It is then revealed that the song Something in the Way by Nirvana is diegetic. This is not just to establish Bruce Wayne as an emo white boy who probably sings Linkin Park in the shower. This music is diegetic because it is trying to speak to him. The song is very deliberately edited. If you listen closely, it really sounds like it's trying to tell him there's something wrong.
I wish I could say I'm making a difference, but I don't know.
But he isn't truly listening. That's why he turns it down. But why does he turn it down?
In an eerie coincidence, it was 20 years ago this week that celebrated millionaire philanthropist Dr. Thomas Wayne and his wife Martha were slain during Wayne's own mayoral campaign. It was a shocking crime that remains unsolved to this day.
The news starts talking about his parents. That's why. That's the problem here. He's focused on vengeance. That's the thing in the way. That's why his mission is failing. It's right in front of him, but he can't see it. Vengeance is not helping the city, and it isn't helping Bruce either. Another interesting little detail about the song is that you actually have to play it in a lower tune on the guitar. You have to tune the guitar down in order to play it. The song is played out of tune, which is extremely symbolic for Batman because the entire way he's working towards his mission is the wrong way. It's almost as if he himself is out of tune. When Bruce turns down the music, that is the end of the Something in the Way segment of the movie, but there is one more thing to talk about real quick, because a scene about setup is nothing without effective payoff. So does it deliver? Yeah, it does. The scene sets up 3 very powerful internal conflicts for Batman, and every one of them is paid off in an impactful and emotional way later in the movie. Bruce learns from Riddler that vengeance changes nothing. It is inspiring hope among the people that truly incites change. Bruce drops the emotional wall and finally lets Alfred and Catwoman in. He allows himself to care and fear for them. Finally, he saves that boy. He saves himself. He grows up from being the scared kid. He heals his scars not by beating people up, by saving them. That is why the second time we hear Something in the Way, it slowly fades out and becomes more orchestral. The way has been cleared. Bruce is now the person he needs to be for the city, and for his family, and for himself.